Good afternoon. My name is Andy Washburn. I'm the Director of Bands at Kings Mountain High School. It's my pleasure this afternoon to introduce you to a really amazing group of young people and a absolutely fantastic high school band clinician. The people on stage behind me have, in the past year, really rebounded from from the whole COVID experience. I think they're happy to be here. I think they had a great time. They've enjoyed working with Mr. Kiefer. All of us have shared in the past year, returning from a year when we barely got to perform at all, and I think we couldn't be happier to have the opportunity to get together and play a little bit like this. The clinician today is Ed Kiefer. Ed is an amazing band director, and he's been someone I've long looked up to, so it makes me very happy to have the opportunity to introduce him this afternoon. He was a graduate of Wake Forest University and pursued a master's degree at UNC Greensboro. Since that time, his bands have been famous. He taught for a long time at East Davidson High School in Davidson County, and his bands there were nothing short of legendary. When I was a young teacher and first graduated from college, I got to see Mr. Kiefer work a band group in the western part of this state, and it was absolutely an incredible experience. It was something very inspirational for me, and I said, I hope one day I have an opportunity to work with bands like that. And I've been very fortunate to cross paths with Mr. Kiefer and get to hear his bands throughout the years. He is a published composer. His works have been performed across the United States. He has traveled across the United States, and I believe his works have even been performed internationally. He is truly an international presence in the band world, and we're very happy to have him with us this afternoon. So, all that said, please welcome to the stage the Cleveland County All-County High School Band and their clinician, Mr. Ed Kiefer.
That was March of the Freedom Fighters by my friend Carol Britton Chambers, who lives in Texas. She writes a lot of music for bands. I got to meet her several times, got to hang out with her a little bit in Chicago when we were there last couple Decembers in the Midwest. She's a fun lady and writes great music. Good March to start off with. Thank you for inviting me to Cleveland County. I've known a lot of your directors for years, and it's been a lot of fun working and getting to see them, and even visiting with some of their kids who I've never seen. So it's been kind of cool. The next number we're going to play is a piece called Soar High. I wrote it in memory of a young lady who played in a middle school band, and she suddenly passed away. And having 2 kids myself, watch them grow, I can't imagine a worse thing. And when they asked me to write a piece in her memory, of course I couldn't say no. But I didn't really know her. I'd worked with the band some, I didn't know her. So I had all the kids write me a letter and just tell me something about her. And so, of course, when you ask middle school people to write letters, first of all, nobody can spell anymore. But the ones that I could actually read, they weren't typed, they were handwritten. They were all talking about how cheery and bright a personality she had. And we all know this person that when you're around them, you just feel better. And that sounds like the way she was. Now, some of them wanted me to write a really sad piece because they were sad that she had passed. But, and there is a little melancholy thing in the middle that I think you'll recognize. But mostly it's just joyous and upbeat and a celebration. And it was originally called Soar High Maya, but my publisher said, we need to take the Maya off and just call it Soar High. And it kind of fits, even if you don't know the story, it kind of fits a little bit better. But I hope you enjoy this, Soar High. got a real change of pace for you now. It's called On a Hymn Song of Philip Bliss. It's a setting of As Well With My Soul. It's a setting by David Holsing. It's a beautiful piece. It's nice, slow, and pretty. The hardest thing for students to do is to rest, to not play. They love playing the horn, but the trouble is when everybody's playing, there's basically just one sound. And if you want a whole bunch of different sounds, you want to hear the different instruments, sometimes people have to take turns. So this one starts soft and pretty. There's a place where everybody plays, and then it kind of, in fact, really pretty. But it's very inspirational. And I haven't done this in a long time, but I've always loved this piece. It's, again, the title is On a Hymn Song by Philip Bliss. Takes a lot of energy for that one. They played it beautifully. I wish we could have even worked on it a little bit more, but they just play it so well. The thing is with these clinics, you come and you work with bands, you have no idea how good or bad they're going to be. And sometimes they're bad, and sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they're in the meantime, you have to pick music for them. So you trust your band directors that you talk to on the phone and on emails and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And they steered me to the right pieces. The music fit the kids really well this weekend. The next piece we're going to do is another piece that was written in memorial. I don't mean to throw two heavy ones on you like this in a row, but it's written for a really, really good teacher who had passed away in a motorcycle wreck, left two kids. And again, I knew the band director really well, and they called me up and wanted me to write a piece. And they were telling me that he was a 7th grade English teacher. He was an inspirational teacher. He met everybody at the door, every class, every day, and he would say hello and say, how are you, and that kind of thing, and talk to the kids just a little bit. Then, of course, if you've ever been in education, some of you are teachers, you know how it is before class starts. Kids are talking, and it's kind of wild and loud, and there's a little bit of that here. And then the class starts, and you get down to business, you get what you need done. So at the beginning of this, one more thing that he did that I thought was really unusual. He had written a poem, and I wanted to publish the poem with the piece because I knew I wouldn't be able to remember it. But his wife didn't want to let me because she was thinking about publishing it later. But it starts with, to be or not to be. And he just paraphrases Shakespeare. But basically what he tells these kids, as they're holding hands in a big circle in their classroom, so that's where the title comes from, circle in a square. The classroom's a square, and the kids are in a circle. He makes them recite it. They had to memorize it, and they had to recite it every day. Basically, you are making your choices right now for the kind of person that you're going to be. And that's the kind of guy he was, and he taught that. So I thought that was kind of cool. So anyway, I wrote a piece to try to get that spirit. At the beginning, you'll hear some people saying hello, and you'll hear some chatter, and it'll get louder, and then the piece will start. And then towards the end, and you'll hear those little hello motives. You hear them through the whole piece here and there. And then at the very end, it fades away because he always let them walk out the door. And he said goodbye to them as they were going out, and then be just the last kid. So, and it's also thinking of him saying goodbye. So, I hope you enjoy this. It's called Circle in a Square. We have one more for you. It's a piece of wrote. It's called Chips, comma, and Salsa, T-O-O. Because I wrote a Chips and Salsa, and everybody loved that, so I just wrote another one. Because it makes me money, you know, so if you make a whole lot of money on one, you know, it's kind of like movies, you know. Actually, it's the only time I've ever done that, in fact, my publisher told me one time, every time you send me a piece, it's completely different than the last one you sent me. But not this one. This one has a good salsa beat, it's a fun piece to play, it'll be a fun song to listen to, and it's our last number. Before we play the last one, I do have to thank Mr. Honey, because he was so helpful. You have no idea how much work it goes into hosting an organization, a thing like this, months ahead of time. And then, of course, the day of, the day before, and probably even the day after, a lot of work to be, and we have a technical crew here, and band directors have spent extra time bringing kids back and forth to school. Before we even go any further, could all the band directors in this county stand up for us, please? If you're in the audience or anywhere around, some of them backstage. So you've been they work hard. I know you really appreciate those folks and all the extra things they do for your sons and daughters. Sometimes they don't get that appreciation from the administration and other teachers that don't really see all that they have to do. I did it for 30 years, and I went to teach college, and college was kind of a vacation for me. I heard a professor tell me one time, I've got to teach 4 classes this year. That's 12 hours a week. And I thought, I used to do that on Mondays, you know. So, but I want to thank them, especially Mr. Honey, and they've been so courteous to us too, getting us a nice place to stay and taking us out to eat last night. And we've had a good time here. But mostly the students have been fantastic, and I think this is my 5th or 6th one this year, since January. All the kids across the world, I think, are so glad that they're getting to make music again. They're not taking it for granted like they used to. You know, and just one more time, I can do it again next year, whatever. No, man, we don't take it for granted anymore. You know, we're none of these last year. And it's so good, and we needed it so bad. I don't know about them, but I know I needed to make music some more, you know. So I'm really grateful, and these kids have been fantastic. And any mistakes, we made a few in that last number. My fault, you know, I told them I picked the music. Some of it I wrote. I decided how much to practice what, and I decided it was okay for us to play it, so any mistakes, they're on me, but they're playing really, really well, and I'm really happy you guys invited me. All right, I think that's given the percussion enough time, because we're gonna feature them a little bit. This is called Chips, comma, and Salsa 2. Hope you have fun, and if it makes you hungry, you can go to the Mexican restaurant when we're done.
I'm listening to it, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,